What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. Now, today on the table in front of us, we have a knife that was generously loaned to me by Microphone the Knife. His Instagram page is fantastic. He does marvelous anodizing work. He's just got a great knife collection, and he's also a friend of mine, which is really very nice. Microphone the Knife has been telling me I need to get my hands on one of these for 6 or 7 months now. I have not done so. So he sent me one to look at, and he's not wrong. This is a really excellent pocket knife. Now, often when a knife looks this interesting, it gives up something in the user categories. That is not the case with the Marshall here. This is the CH Knives Marshall, if I haven't said that already. This is Titanium and S35VN running on bearings. This is Mokutai. This is some of Microphone the Knife's ano work on that pocket clip, and it matches the Mokutai perfectly. This knife looks weird. It does. I mean, there's something about the shape of it. It's the reason I never got one, but I got to tell you, since it's landed, I've kept this way longer than I should have. Sorry about that, bud. But primarily because I love carrying it. It is a real user in dress clothes. Now, you're not going to want to get this thing out in the muck and the mud because it has these holes through these, it's got holes milled through it. But for daily use, this is a surprisingly excellent pocket knife. Now, I don't mean surprisingly excellent because of the manufacturer or the materials. We know, if you've watched my channel, you know that I know that CH Knives makes good knives. But this one is really useful. This blade shape, for all of its kind of funkiness, is very, very EDC friendly. Now, it's got a really nice shallow choil, so you can choke way up. If you do push cuts at this angle, it slips through material like nobody's business. It comes down to a very nice edge. It's got this nice flat right here. If you're going to do push cuts this way, for draw cuts, it has a really nice, robust tip. It is very well done. Now, it is not a razor blade. It is a relatively thick chunk of S35VN. We'll get to that in a little bit. And because of the grind, there's not a lot of area for it to come down. But the edge itself, I don't know if that's going to show up on camera. Look at that. The edge itself is just beautifully equal on both sides. It is perfectly ground. You can deploy this knife in a couple of ways. Of course, the flipper tab, which is really unobtrusive, works every single time, and you can, when you're not showing off on camera, you can flip it open with the deployment hole here. The shape itself lends to a very comfortable grip. Now, if I just use the handle, it's a little small for me. My pinky wants to roll off the end, but that's okay, because if you come up here to this choil, this thing is just locked in hand. And because of this blade shape, you know, if you're going to get in a gas station fight and you want to do it with some style, CH Marshall is not a bad knife to choose. Now, these are about $150. You can get them on AliExpress and various other places. I didn't think I was going to love it, but I do. I really do. I am sort of sad that I don't have one. Look at that. The color there on both sides. A sort of inlay around the pivot. It says Marshall on the backspacer. It has basically a full-length backspacer with really nice jimping. It has a lanyard hole if you lanyard. The pocket clip is, we're going to go ahead and call that deep carry. And this is done really well. So it sits very low in the pocket. The lanyard hole is above the clip in such a way that if you're going to use a lanyard, it sticks out where you want it to, and yet it still disappears basically in the pocket. It has a very nice lean profile, which is very, very good for carry. It is not a small knife. Let's go ahead and measure that out while we're talking about it. You get 1, 2, 3, 4 full inches of S35VN on 1, 2, 3.5 inches of cutting surface. The grip area, we're going to do this in two ways. First, with the choil. is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Without the forward choil, it is 1, 2, 3 full inches and 3.5 to 4 inches if you wrap around the edge. You know, the way they did this, even when I hold it back here, even though my pinky is technically off the main area, it's still really firmly in hand. It's a nice grip. It really is. It has excellent jimping across the spine of the blade, just where you'd want it, particularly if you're using that forward choil. I really like this. And that's kind of a bummer because now I'm going to have to go find one. Let's do some size comparisons while I've got it on the table. Here it is against the bug out. As you can see, it just dwarfs the bug out. It is much, much bigger. Let's put it up against our old friend, the Rat Model 1. The Rat 1 is actually a little smaller. About 1/8 of an inch shorter overall. The CH Marshall is a big knife, which means you need to go this way. Yep, the Marshall is a big one. Now, I, again, have said that I love CH knives, and I do. I've had a number of them. They're priced at such a point that you manage to get really exquisite materials, just excellent materials, without breaking the bank. And that is important to a lot of people, me included. I would love to collect only super high-end knives, but that would mean I would have 6 or 7 knives in my collection, and to me, that's not my collection. My collection is much bigger than that. And to do that, I have to explore other makers that are willing to produce knives at a reasonable price. Now, even with the full titanium, and it is, and even with these milled holes, I don't think this is a particularly light knife. Let's go ahead and weigh it and see what it says. All right. 4.2 ounces. Now, for 3.5 inches of cutting on 4 inches of blade steel, 4.2 is better than I thought it was going to be. So while this is not a lightweight knife, it is not a beast either. I just keep coming back to this grind. Now, it is a flat grind, even though it has this edge right here. I think this would have been beautiful as a compound, but that's not what they did. But it's got this marvelous swedge. I don't know. Look, I just think this thing is gorgeous. It has the CH Knives mark on the blade, and on this side it says S35VN, but beyond that there is no billboarding, which is very nice. This is one of those rare knives that looks as good closed as it does open. I just think it's beautiful. Now the closed length on this thing, we didn't do that, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full inches closed. The overall length, which I think I forgot to do, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 3/4 inches. It is, as I said, a big knife. Let's go ahead and get the blade stock knocked out of the way. I did mention that this is a hefty chunk of S35VN, and I was not kidding. If we come back here to a nice thick spot, you will see that it is 4 full millimeters of, a little actually over 4 millimeters of S35VN. The handle at its thickest spot is 13 millimeters, or just over a 1/2 inch. It's very lean this way, but you still get a really solid grip on this knife. It is, I keep saying this, but I really want to make it clear, this is a funky looking knife that is an absolute joy to carry and use. Do I recommend it? Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely do. You know, at 100, let's say right now they're $160. At below $200 for what is good S35VN running on bearings, marvelous titanium scales with the Mokutai inlays. Yours will have a plain pocket clip, but just the same. This is one hell of a pocket knife, and I think that it's worth your attention. They are still available. As I said, you can find them over on AliExpress. And if you're interested in this style of knife, which is sort of futuristic and funky, then definitely track one of these down. I think you'll really enjoy it. I know I have. Unfortunately, this one is going to have to go back to Microphone the Knife. I am super sad to see it go. I think that one of these is probably going to follow up and join my collection at some point down the road here. This is a good pocket knife. I might even go so far as to say it's a great pocket knife. I really would. I hope you've enjoyed this sort of short overview and look at the CH Marshall. I know I have enjoyed having it quite a bit, and I know that I'm going to be sad to see it go. If you have any questions about the CH Marshall or any of the knives you've seen on my channel, feel free to ask down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.